on? How are we? Wow, 8 people, 8 very brave people waiting to see me. Fantastic. No, great. It's brilliant. Brilliant to connect with you all again. Welcome to another one of my lives. The third this week. I never thought I'd be saying that. Yeah, fantastic. I mean, it's just brilliant to connect with you all. Tonight's live is going to be just a bit of a general Q&A and not quite as beautiful scenery as you have been watching over the last couple of lives. If you have missed any of those, then do go and check them out on the channel. They are uploaded now and you can go back and watch those. Yeah, so tonight's live is a bit of a Q&A. If you've got any random questions you want to fire at me, I'm sure I will divert into some stories as well of my own, no doubt. But yeah, just wanted to catch up with you all. You probably don't recognise the background, neither do I really. I'm currently staying in some accommodation in Lancashire where I'm working on my latest wetland project, which no doubt some of you will have seen me documenting in some shorts and 1 or 2 full-length videos. So yes, I'm not in my own house, I'm in somebody else's house, and yeah, I can only imagine they are a family of dog lovers. So yeah, some lovely stonework actually. This sandstone behind me is one of my favourite stones actually. It's beautiful stone, and it's no doubt quarried from locally around here. So yes, right, let's see who's on so far. Nikki Ramsey, nice. I'm glad you managed to join us, Nikki. Thanks for joining along. Hello. GM, hello. Yeah, nice labs. Yeah, labs, retrievers. Yeah, retrievers probably. But yeah, and GM, word of warning tonight, go easy with the questions. I don't want any Christmas Carol questions. I don't want any dinosaur questions. Let's try and keep it reasonably topical if we can. Charlotte Seaton. Charlotte, nice to see you. Hi, Joel. Finally, I made it to a live broadcast. Yes, well, that was the idea, Charlotte, to get a few of these over a couple of days so that people could join in at various times. First one was 5 o'clock, then 1 o'clock today at lunchtime, where I was doing a bit of a tour around the site I'm working on, the mini wetlands. So yeah, if you're just joining, hello, and go check out the previous lives if you want to see the last 2 that I've done of the wetland project. We had some interesting wildlife as well. Those of you that were joining me earlier will know we had live ladybirds, we had live ravens. What else do we have? We had a live caterpillar as well. So yeah, it's quite an eventful one this lunchtime. Let's see who else is on. Anne Bashir, nice to see you again, Anne. Good evening from Turkey. Wow, amazing. Turkey, yeah, wonderful country. A few years since I've been, but yeah, very, very beautiful country. Great food in Turkey. I am a food lover myself, and Turkey is just brilliant for food. I'd soon put on a few pounds if I was in Turkey, that's for sure. Keith Roberts, hi Keith. Keith, good to see you again. I don't know how you put up with me so many times in a row. Charlotte's hi from Wisconsin. Yeah, I knew you were from the States, Charlotte. I couldn't quite remember where, so Wisconsin, wow. Nice to meet you, or see you again. GM, good. Glad to see you're going to behave this time. For those of you that weren't in the first live, GM was asking me a few random questions. I think he was just testing me. It nearly worked. Two-Tone Navy, good evening, Joel. Yeah, John, hi, how you doing? John's in the States as well. Again, I won't give your address out, John. You have loads of screaming fans running towards your house. Yeah, John, a good friend of mine. He's doing a very big amount for wildlife, should I say. He's yeah, doing a lot in his garden, been planting a lot of borders, and I'm very jealous because he's recently had lots of swallowtail butterflies in his garden. So yes, we'll move swiftly on, shall we, John? Don't send me any more pictures. No, please do. I love seeing them. GM, are stag beetles present in Cheshire? Good question. I don't think so. Lesser stag beetles will be. Great, or the kind of the normal stag beetle. They're in a bit of a line from the Wash, if you're familiar with the UK, from the Wash near around where I grew up, sort of Lincolnshire way, in a bit of an angle, a bit of a line. If you drew a line across down to the kind of southwest towards Bristol, there and south, they're predominantly a southern and eastern beetle in the UK. So yes, I've been fortunate enough to see them a few times in my life. Fantastic. When I was living in Essex, I remember it was one. I usually see them in June if I'm traveling around the country. June time is when they seem to be about the most. And I was out walking the dogs actually. I was just walking back up the street, and honest to God, I thought a blooming helicopter was flying past me. It was just this, and it was a stag beetle, about 6 foot off the ground. They look, if you see them flying, they look like they can barely just take off. They're absolutely amazing creatures. Yes, I had the privilege of seeing one there. I rescued one from a petrol station in Surrey once, believe it or not. I just finished up a job. I'd finished making a wildlife pond. I think it was Guildford Way. I just pulled in some services. Middle of summer, I was getting June time, probably 8-9 o'clock at night, late finish, and I heard this clattering and banging around above me, and I thought, what the hell is that? And it was actually a stag beetle, and it was flying up to, like in petrol stations and the garages, they have these like big square, kind of lights that are in the roof, and it was flying and bouncing into this light, and I thought, oh, please come down. Anyway, it came down, and funnily enough, it landed on the back of my truck. And if you've watched me make a few wildlife ponds in the past, then you will have seen the fleece that I use, like I have done on this one and all the ponds I make. Really heavy duty woven fleece as a protective layer below and above the liner. And I had a roll of fleece on the back of the truck. And this thing just crash landed into this fleece, and could I get it off the fleece? It was like it was on like a recoiling sort of spring, and every time I pulled it up, it sort of tightened its grip. Anyway, this flipping stag beetle, I don't know what the forecourt attendant was thinking inside. I'd already paid for the diesel at this point, and I came back out, and it just flew down. Funnily enough, coincidentally, landed on the back of the truck on the roll of fleece. And he just clung on like nothing else. And eventually I had to unhook. I was there for about 10 minutes, unhook each individual of its 6 legs, and slide a piece of paper underneath each leg so it couldn't grip back on again. Otherwise, this thing was just going to come off somewhere around the M25, around the outskirts of London at 60 odd mile an hour, 70 mile an hour. So that was an eventful story. And then I doesn't end there. I put it in like a little Tupperware box. I'd taken some to work with some food in, and I had some strawberries left over, and they love strawberry juice. They don't eat a lot as in the adult form, but it had its mouth parts on this strawberry, and it was eating this strawberry. And I carefully put it on top of my dash and put a few books on top of everything, left a little bit of a gap so it still had some air. And I got home, I couldn't find it. I thought, oh my God. And this is in a Ford Transit double cab, 7 seats, tools everywhere. And I thought, how am I going to find this now? So I thought, right, well, he's got some food. He's had some strawberries. It'll be all right till the morning. Well, the next day I was emptying my truck out. And I did eventually find it. I can't remember where. And then I released it. So that was probably the most well-travelled stag beetle. It went from Surrey to Essex. That night. So yeah, that was quite an eventful story. I digress, but that's what we do with these lives, isn't it? Anyway, so let's have a catch up. Few more comments. Sorry, that was an interesting story about stag beetles. I did warn you. Jenny said it was a great live earlier. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, Jenny. Glad you did too. Hopefully, some of you that are joining for a second time today. Well done. A bit of an endurance test. This is. You see, this is me testing you. This isn't the other way around. I'm testing to see who the real fans are. No, it's great, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. And we did speak about Jenny mooted the idea of doing a bit of a tour around the country to see people's wildlife gardens, which I thought was a brilliant idea. Just got to find that small thing of time to do it. But yeah, I'd love to do that. I'd love to see what habitats you've all been making over the years. Two-tone navy. Still remember the live streams from your home back in 2021. That's a great format. Blimey, John. Yeah, is it that long? We've been going for. Well, it's actually longer, isn't it? 2020 I started the channel. So 5 years now. Yeah, so those were the last live streams I did was 2021. So fingers crossed. Let's make this a more regular feature, shall we? A lot of you seem to be enjoying this format. It's great to converse with you, even if I am just talking to myself, which is nothing new. No, it's not. It's great. I love seeing the comments come in. GM, I saw an elephant hawk moth caterpillar last week. Any way to help it? Well, this time of year, I mean, it's very late for elephant hawk moth caterpillars. If they're on a bit of a mission and you see one just kind of marching across a piece of gravel, or quite often I find myself stopping and moving them off pavements or bits of road, because what you find is they're full grown size. They're in their final instar, what's known as instar. Caterpillars have instars, so they shed their skin every time, a bit like a snake does every time they grow. So most caterpillars will have 4 or 5 instars, which are different stages when they shed their skin. And when they reach their final instar and they get to their full size, and the elephant hawk moth caterpillars, I found one earlier on this year, fantastic. I found a green version. There is literally a barn owl. I don't know if you heard that. It's a barn owl flying round the window outside. I'm actually going to turn the light. Okay, I'll come back to the elephant hawk moth. I'm going to turn the light off and see if I can bring you a live barn owl. How ironic. No, wrong light switch. I have been literally talking about barn owls. I've been putting up a barn owl box today. And that screech I just heard, it's going to go dark for a minute, guys, was 2 barn owls outside. Now I'm going to turn the camera around. You can see this is you at the moment. Can you hear that? I hope you can. Barn owls are also known as a screech owl. I'll let you guess why, but they make this really kind of odd sort of noise. I wonder if I can get out this back door. Is there a key here? I can. Right, the back door is open. Ooh. Anyway, I hope they come back. I really do, because that was amazing. I only just literally caught a glimpse of 2 of them spiralling round just over the little bush just there. I mean, it's a small little back garden. And yeah, they were both spiraling around, screeching at each other. I can't believe that. That's blown me away. 2 barn owls. And I have literally today been putting up a barn owl box where I've been working. There. I hope you all saw that. Like, there. It's going round. It's gone off a little bit. It's over there. I can see it quartering, but you probably won't see that. It's over the lights over there. I'm sure it'll come back. Zoom out. I really hope you saw that. That was a live barn owl, I promise you. There's not many other birds that are that size, that shape, and make that much racket at this time of night. Wow. Well, I hope you saw that. I mean, I'll keep the door open a bit, and then you might be able to hear them again. But yeah, that was quite a sight. 2 barn owls over this back garden. Okay, push the door to a bit. I'm going to put the lights back on. And yeah, continue with the broadcast. Hold on, just got to put the light on here. Turn this around. Wow, what about that? I mean, that's an encounter if ever I saw one. Get this door open a bit, and then if it comes back, I shall grab the camera and turn it around. Wow, barn owl, there you go. This is like Spring Watch, but better, obviously, because you get your questions answered. So that's just a bit cold with that door open. Right, okay, excitement over for the moment. Elephant hawk moths, yes. So usually if you see them basically on a frog march towards a bit of cover or something, they're going to pupate. They're marching off across gravel or pavement or whatever to go and pupate, to turn into chrysalis before they emerge then as the adult moth. So yes, that's what they're going to do. So often you would be best to pick them up off the pavement, off the road, to stop them from getting run over and squashed, and just put them in some vegetation somewhere. Normally they'll go in the leaf litter and pupate. Some moth species go slightly underground. That's why sometimes when you're digging in your garden, you find these little brown chrysalises. Then that's a moth chrysalis. So yes, that's elephant hawk moths for you. Right, let's catch up then. Hopefully, I want to scroll down to the so I want to scroll down to the comments about the bar now, but I'm just trying to go through. So look, Keith said, did you get a chance to participate in the big butterfly count, and what was your take on how the numbers were this year? Good question, Keith. Yeah, I did. I did do a few counts wherever I was working. I always try and get a few counts in each year. But I thought it was a pretty good year for butterflies. I don't know how you all found it, but I thought it was a reasonable year. Small tortoiseshells still seem to be on a bit of a downward trend. They're really struggling, have done for the last few years now. The Sturmiabella, the disease that hits them quite hard, is not doing them many favours. So yes, it's a bit of a shame, but generally speaking, I thought it was a good year for butterflies, and it was a lot better year. I believe Butterfly Conservation released their results and said that whether people were just recording more is obviously always a consideration, but yeah, it was a good year from what I can tell. Patricia Bamford said, can't make a wildflower patch, I'm desperate. Is it because the soil is too rich? The only really good show is from the oxeye daisies. Thousands of ladybirds here. I put them all around. Yeah, it's been a very good year for ladybirds. And yes, generally speaking, if you've got a lot of fertility, you'll find that the grasses quite often swamp some of the more delicate wildflowers, so your cowslips and your sort of smaller, lower growing plants like bird's foot trefoil, self-heal. You know, there are still plenty of plants that will do okay. Things like lesser knapweed will do all right. Things like cow parsley, things like wild carrot, you know, taller plants that are able to cope with, you know, similar vigorous grasses should be fine. Yeah, that's probably your best bet there. You can always add some yellow rattle seed in the autumn to try and knock those grasses back a little bit. But if the underlying fertility is there, then yeah, you're probably going to always have a similar issue. But you could mow up until kind of the end of May time, and that will keep the grass kind of contained, and then let it go. And then hopefully the vigour won't be as bad, and then it will be a better show for your wildflowers. So yeah, that's one thing I would recommend for that, Patricia. Hope that helps. And yeah, it's been a very good year for ladybirds. Had a live ladybird earlier on at lunchtime. One landed on me. The Off-Grid Island Dream. Hello, guys. Nice to see you again from Ireland. Thanks for joining. Isaac NFFC. Hi, Joel. How are you doing? You're the first person that's asked that. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing this job I'm on. This one in Lancashire, the wetlands. I've got my penultimate day tomorrow. Got my plants turning up on Thursday for the pond, and then the seeding to do. Then that's it. I'm out of here, and it will feel a little bit weird. It always feels odd when I've been on a job for so many weeks, and then I sort of wake up the next day and think, oh, I don't have to go back there anymore. But yes, that's the beauty of doing what I do. I get to travel around a lot, but no, I'm doing well. Thank you, Isaac. Yeah, I could just do with a bit of a holiday, but the move has sapped most of our funds for this year. So yeah, I'm concentrating on making some habitats in my own garden, which is lovely. Brandon Fisichella said, or Fisichella, I hope I pronounced it right. Hi, Joel. Just wanted to say I appreciate your work and enjoy the videos. Thanks so much for all you do. Hopefully I'll have a garden myself one day to put the ideas into practice myself too. I hope so too, Brandon. Having a garden, I think, is hugely underrated. You know, for those of you that I've, you know, spoke to before, when you move to a new place and you finally get a garden, it's just the best feeling in the world. It's like, if you love gardens and you love gardening, or even if you don't, just to have the outside space to call your own, it's hugely rewarding. And the mental health benefits that brings is just, is unparalleled, if you ask me. You know, to have your own space and be able to go outside and just sit in it is just second to none. So yes, I really hope that comes true for you very soon, Brandon, and keep me posted. Let me know when you do get your garden or your own little space. I'll be sure to offer some advice, I'm sure. Viviana Lyon, hello Joel. When the Lancashire wetland is finished, will we be able to visit, or is it private land? I live in Lancashire, been gardening for wildlife a long time. Love your work. Thank you very much, Viviana. Yes, unfortunately, this is a private project. This isn't like the Clapham Wetlands project I was working on in London on Clapham Common over the winter months and into the spring. So it is a private field, basically. It's a 3-acre field on the back of the property. But I will be doing some updates, and who knows, maybe I'll ask the client if they'll let me have a bit of an open day there one day. It'd be great to see some of these habitats and invite you all to see them, you know, at some point, because I appreciate that, you know, not all of these habitats are accessible. But if you're ever in London, or anybody who's from London or going to London or likely to be in London, then you can go and see some of my work firsthand at the Clapham Wetlands project that I was making back earlier in the beginning of the year, which was a wonderful project right in the middle of Clapham Common, with a great big 12-metre pedestrian bridge over the middle of a 30-metre long wildlife pond. Just amazing. Absolutely loved that job. And yeah, I can't wait to see that established and do the full video of the creation of that. It's not on the channel yet, but I have done a couple of shorts on it, so go and check those out on the Clapham Wetlands playlist if you want to have a look at that. But yeah, unfortunately, Viviana, this one isn't accessible to the public. There is, however, a bit of a private footpath down the side of it, so you can, you know, by any means walk down the side of it. So I'm sure the client won't mind me giving you those details for you to come and have a walk along the footpath alongside the field, so you can have a look in. The pond actually is visible from the road. There's a bit of a natural dip in the hedge, and you can sort of, as you're walking along the road, see in as well. So yeah, if you want to message me about that, I'm sure I'll check with the client first. I'm sure I can share those details with you. GM knows Brandon Fishkeller, I believe. Nikki Ramsey, I've had a stag beetle in my garden before, but not seen any this year. Did I see one this year? Sorry, it's not all about me, is it? Yeah, well, keep looking, Nikki. Rotten logs, rotten wood, and that kind of stuff is brilliant for stag beetles, especially lesser stags as well. Obviously, they spend a lot of their life underground eating rotten wood. So, yeah, many years, up to 7 years sometimes, as a larvae before they emerge out as the beetle, just for 2 or 3 weeks, which is just such a shame. Because they are beautiful insects, but obviously they don't live forever. The same as everything on this planet. Claire Clark, hi Joel, great to see you. Great to see you too, Claire. Thanks for joining. I'm near Guildford. Oh, brilliant. I'm still battling with the lawn too. I lifted turf and planted plugs last year, but they aren't thriving. Any more tips? Thank you. Well, there's many answers to this, Claire. I won't go into all of them, but I'll give you a few. Could be soil type. I mean, if it's really wet, for example, they may be struggling because they're too saturated. Plugs also, they don't do as well, I find, in new settings as a 9 centimetre potted plant. Just because they take a lot more nurturing. If you plant them in the spring, for example, and just leave them and you don't water them, they dry out so quickly, because these things are quite often, you know, kind of 1.5 inches long, 2 inches max, really. So they dry out very quickly. So that could be the reason they're failing. But yeah, there's a few factors. But yeah, if you're looking for any plants, by the way, we've worked long and hard with our suppliers on the online shop, rggarden.com. So if you guys are after anything like that for your own gardens, all native wildflowers, all our wildflowers now are peat free as well, as with our pond plants. So yeah, we've gone completely peat free, which I'm very proud of. Big challenge in the horticultural industry, the peat situation, with companies still using a lot of peat and extracting that from our fenland peat bogs and our wetlands, and it obviously being to the detriment of a lot of our wildlife, you know, our odonata in particular, our dragonflies, damselflies. and many other creatures. So yes, we've gone completely free, peat free on the online shop. So drop us a line if you after any 9 centimeters or potted plants, and indeed our super plugs as well, which we do sell quite a few of at this time of year. Of course, now is a great time of year to be planting in your garden. Trees, plants, just get them in. The ground's still warm. There's no frost yet, so yeah, get them in your garden while you can. But yeah, hope that helps, Claire. I've got to go to Guildford soon. Actually, I've got some planting. I've got 5 giant mahonias to plant for a client, and yeah, they're so big. I've got to take my digger to plant them. They're like 100 litres or something. I mean, the pots are just like enormous and like this deep. So, and the ground is really hard. So that's going to be fun. Rebecca said, new builds should include swallow boxes now. It would be so simple, or swallow bricks incorporated. Why don't they do this? I'm guessing you probably mean Swift bricks, Rebecca. Swallows like an open cup, so they're like a bit of a if you can imagine, like a half moon that's open on top against a wall. So they'll nest in an open cup. I think you're referring to the Swifts and the Swift bricks, which are something that have been tried. I know Hannah Bourne Taylor, if any of you have heard of her, she's been championing Swift bricks and Swifts in general to try and get Swift bricks mandated into every new build house in the country, which wouldn't cost construction companies the earth to do. Let's be honest. If a brick is 50 quid and they put one in each house, then after they've made their £100,000 or whatever it is, or more on each house, is it really going to be that difficult for them? Anyway, it went to Parliament and it didn't get passed, unfortunately. I don't know why, but yeah, it didn't get passed, which was deeply frustrating and kind of sums up the government in the UK. Everything is a mission to get put through. So anyway, I won't digress down the politics route, but yeah, a real big shame. Although, to be honest, it's not the lack of nesting sites that is the big problem for swifts. It's actually a lack of insects. There are just so few insects around these days compared to what there were 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, that they're just not in the same numbers. And of course, some of them are being hunted. There is a group that I follow on Twitter, or X is now known, and YouTube, called CABS, as a committee against bird slaughter, and they do incredible work. If you ever want to support a charity, they are fantastic. They are based in Germany, but they work all over. They work in Lebanon, they work in Cyprus, and they hunt down, I know Chris Packham and Megan McCubbin have been doing some trips out there recently to try and highlight the work they do, because they do incredible work. I mean, they're out there risking their lives trying to capture or take down these mist nets, where a mist net is a big net basically that hunters put up with 2 poles at either end, the same as if when people ring birds in this country, and they capture thousands of our songbirds. So every year, many of the birds that we see in our gardens, so willow warblers, chiffchaffs, blackcaps, cuckoos, all the kind of iconic species, summer species that migrate, they capture thousands of these birds to eat them. And you think, well, how much food are you getting off a willow warbler, a bird that weighs a few grams? Anyway, it goes on all over Europe, unfortunately, and cabs are out there trying to stop them, do amazing work. So if you're looking for a charity to support financially, they are brilliant. Yeah, I can't remember how I got onto that now, but yes. So I think it's Swift bricks you're on about, Rebecca. So yes, let's have a quick flick through. Let's have a look. GM, would you ever be interested in buying a woodland and managing it for nature? Would be a cool series. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've thought about this many times. I've thought about doing some crowdfunders to get, and people have asked me if I'd do a crowdfunder to buy a piece of land to manage it, and I'd be very happy to. It's just, finding the right piece of land, getting finances in place, and a lot of people are very generous with their donations when it comes to crowdfunding for these things. So yes, I genuinely would love to do something like that. maybe that's a topic for another day, or maybe another arm to the channel in the future, possibly. Daniel Brown, hi Joel, hope you're well. Very well, thank you, Daniel. Yeah, good to see you. Owen, hey Joel and community. I'll stop there for a second. Community, that is what I love about this channel, and no doubt many other channels on YouTube, is the community, and you guys are just incredible. And I'm looking to hopefully very soon add a few more features to the channel, including hopefully a like a community chat page, so that you don't have to wait for me to do a live to have these interactions between yourselves, because I realise it's quite a kind of a niche little sort of part on YouTube waiting for me to do these lives. But if we have a chat where just members can join and chat amongst yourselves, I think that'll be amazing. So yeah, that's hopefully coming. But yeah, I digress. But I just love the word community. It's just wonderful, and it is a true representation of what it is like here. There's so many wonderful people I've met on this channel over the last 5 years. I can't count on 50 pairs of hands. It's just brilliant, and seeing the same people coming back and interacting with each other, I absolutely love it. So it is a community, so I recommend you subscribe if you haven't already. There's some great people here. Did Noma May 2 years in a row now. Get orchids in front lawn of a 1997 built semi-detached property and have slow worms living in my back garden. Thanks for all your advice. You're very welcome, Owen, and that's amazing. Orchids and slow worms. What more do you need in life? You don't need a TV. You don't need family. Orchids and slow worms. That's amazing. Hats off to you. Thank you. I'm so glad that the channel has given you some advice so that you can try and manage these spaces. Do send me some pics. I'd love to see the orchids and the slow worms. Slow worms are a big love of mine. I don't see enough of them. I'd love to get them in my own garden. I'm trying. I've put lots of refugia out recently, some old tins and things, all around the garden, just to do some surveying for them. Obviously, this time of year they go into hibernation, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed, come this spring, I can find a grass snake and a slow worm or two. Come Katusu, hope I've said that right. I thought I didn't enjoy gardening, still not much of a fan of traditional gardening, but I love making habitats for wildlife. That's the spirit. That's what I love about this channel is, you don't have to be a good gardener. You don't have to. In fact, it's a very good excuse, to not be a good gardener. You don't have to go out there and trim your hedges every 5 minutes, cut the lawn every 2 minutes, and weed all the borders and get everything immaculate. You just don't need to do that anymore. We live in a very different world to days gone by. The last 40, 50 years, perceptions have changed, and hopefully this channel is one of the kind of driving forces to encouraging people to do that. So it's so good to see that you're doing that in your own garden. So hats off to you. And yeah, send me some photos. Drop me an email of the habitats you've made for wildlife. I'd love to see them. GM said, is there a native species of dandelion I should plant? I'm not aware of the multitude of dandelions that are around, to be honest. I'm sure there are slight differences and different varieties, but dandelions are dandelions, unless I'm mistaken. So yeah, it should be okay there. Muddy Walters, hey, nice to see you again. Enjoying these live videos, Joel, anticipating the wildlife camera footage. Yes, do you know what? I forgot to take the SD card. I was saying to myself all day long, right, take the SD card out of that wildlife camera. If you don't know what Muddy Walters is talking about, I recently set a camera trap next to one was the client's camera trap actually, next to one of the mini scrapes that I've created recently in on this latest project. And I've been desperate to check the footage from that because there's so many like probing marks in the mud of wading birds that are the key species that we wanted to attract to this wetland by creating these scrapes. And there are so many little footprints as well, like these little 3-pronged footprints of wading birds all around the edges of this scrape. And I forgot to bring the SD card back, so thank you for reminding me. Hopefully I remember tomorrow. Yes, I will do you a little video of some of the footage of that. Don't worry, that's coming up soon. Volvo safe. Every new space with green and insects is life enhancing, mate. Very true. Yeah, check out Douglas Tallamy is an American entomologist, ecologist, and conservationist. Yes, I have a friend in America who went to one of his talks recently, Douglas Tallamy. Very incredibly intelligent guy, far more intelligent than I am. And yes, but every new space with green insects is life enhancing. Yeah, you're right. So a green space, it doesn't have to be big, can be fabulous for wildlife if you just give it a chance. Charlotte's Eden, we just moved and went over from 7 acres to 1.5 with little garden and half of it forest, which is nice. Oh, yeah, wonderful. This little garden that is here are full of rocks that I need to get rid of. Yeah, well, don't get rid of them all, Charlotte, because you can always create a bit of a mini hibernaculum for maybe some of the newts and frogs and toads to overwinter in. So yeah, don't get rid of all your rocks. Davey Richardson, hi mate. Hello, how you doing, Davey? Good to see you. Wildlife gardener Tracy said, hi Joel, good to see these lives once again. Quick question for small pond owners. What plants can you advise that won't swallow the pond up? Thanks. Yes, Tracy. Well, there's loads we sell in the shop. Things like ragged robin, cuckoo flower. You've got things like lesser spearwort is a good one as well. Sneezewort. Most of the things ending in wort. Yeah, there's loads, absolutely loads. Drop me a line if you want some more. I'm happy to give you a bit of advice about that. Keith said it seems also to have been a good year for dragonflies, damselflies. Yeah, I must admit, yeah, I've seen quite a lot of dragonflies this year, damselflies as well. So that's been good. Opinions, MC Source. Opinions on beaver reintroduction in the UK. I think it's great. Yeah, I mean, obviously most of them are controlled at the moment. They are still within a kind of a fenced off area, so they're being monitored. But I mean, yeah, I mean, apart from affecting potentially fields with livestock in and, you know, farmers' livelihoods with flooding crops, I think beavers are a great thing. They create the best habitats you can possibly imagine. They create these wetland areas almost as good as the ones I make. Now they do, though. They create these amazing habitats and flood these areas that just wouldn't normally be flooded, because we've, you know, for the last few centuries since farming came into our lives, we've wanted to drain everything, get the water off the land as fast as possible, so that we can, you know, sow more crops. You know, get more hay crops every year. Nowadays, you know, farmers are getting 3 hay crops off a field. Which, yeah, is crazy. So yeah, we're always wanting to kind of, you know, drain everything off, but beavers are a great way of holding that water into the landscape, which is what I'm trying to do with this wetland where I am, holding the water in the landscape for longer, so that it therefore gives the wildlife a chance to use it, rather than just carrying on down the valley straight into our rivers and out to the sea. It's holding it in that landscape and providing a habitat, and letting it slowly move on and controlling that flow of the water, rather than it just being a kind of a channel straight down to the sea or the ocean. So yes, I'm all for beavers. I think they're fantastic. Bean Hunter 22. I do love reading out these names. Hi Joel, what pond maintenance would you recommend going into winter? Just a general bit of cutting back, really. If you've got any desilting or de-leafing to do, now's the time. Going into winter, general bit of cutting back. Don't cut back everything though, because things like your purple loose strife, your tansy, hemp agrimony, they're all good seed producing plants, so they're all going to be visited by birds such as goldfinches, chaffinches, and all sorts of birds, greenfinches, over the winter months. So yeah, leave a little bit of vegetation if you can. And obviously when it's a bit milder, we're getting warmer winters here in the UK in particular, it seems. Frogs and newts will go out to hunt. You know, they will wake up and go out on milder nights to hunt for insects if they're hungry. So yeah, a bit of longer grass, longer vegetation, some areas left is better for them. Absolutely. So hope that helps on that one. Let's have a look down. Sorry, I lost my spot for a second. Yeah, Wildlife Gardener Tracy. Cabs are amazing, so brave. They really are, Tracy. Yeah, incredible. I really want to go out and join cabs on one of their ventures and give them a hand. I just think it'd be amazing to document it, if nothing else, to just help push their agenda and help get them some support. Because obviously, you know, everybody watching this are lovers of wildlife, I would assume. So yeah, the last thing we want is to see the garden birds that we dearly love being slaughtered in different countries. So the more we can help that to be stopped, the better. Charlotte's Eden, we had thousands and thousands of dragonflies at the house last year for an hour or two, just all in one spot and nothing at the neighbours. It was amazing. Any idea why? Yeah, well, dragonflies actually migrate. I saw a video, was it last year? On social media of thousands of dragonflies in, it might have been the same event in America. And yeah, sometimes you just get these boom years, a bit like, you know, with locusts, a bit like you see it in the butterfly world when you get sort of different levels of parasitic increases or decreases, then other species can boom. So sometimes it just, everything falls right. A bit like this year, we had a very stressful spring and into summer for a lot of the trees. A lot of the trees in this country up until June were starting to die. You know, they were dropping the leaves, they were drying up because we had such a dry spring in the UK. It was, I've never seen anything like it. You know, trees were literally dying in June. And yeah, so the because of that stress, the oak trees had an absolutely bumper year for acorns. So, you know, different climatic changes, different changes in parasitic insects that will predate larger insects. Then, you know, all of these cycles. Sometimes everything just falls right for something to have an absolute boom year. So it could have been that you'd seen, Charlotte. Paul Morgan, wow, £5. Blimey, Paul, thank you very much indeed. Love the content. If you have a fully concrete garden due to leasehold, would you suggest adding in planters, or is this not worth it for wildlife? 100% it's worth it, Paul. Yeah, I mean, you've got to imagine the amount of insects that can fly. They will find you. They have a sixth sense. They have an amazing ability to find, and this is something that I touched on, I think, in the first live yesterday. They have an amazing ability to find these plants and to pollinate them. So it's amazing. So even if you've just got a little concrete yard, you know, sometimes I wish somebody would just give me 20 square meters of concrete and say, right, that's your garden, make it good for wildlife. I'd love that challenge. I've done small gardens like that in London, to be fair, but I would love to show you, and perhaps I will, you know, do some more videos on some really small spaces, you know, that you can apply to your own garden from home at some point when I'm at home, if I ever get home again. But thank you so much, Paul, for the love. I think I can love that. There you go. I just love that. The wonders of technology. Yeah, if you want to support the channel in any way, guys, there is like a super thanks you can do. I think there's a super chat as well. I don't really know how it works because I've not done too many of these, but yeah, you can always, you know, send a couple of quid, buy me a coffee type thing if you ever want to. Obviously, you don't have to. It's not obligatory. Harry Cole Morgan, do you guys have milkweed, or is that just an American thing? Butterflies freaking love it. Yes, they freaking do, Harry. You're right. Milkweed is amazing. It's a larval food plant for the monarch butterflies. And my good friend Rob, who I was hoping to see tonight, he's obviously been a bit busy, no doubt, with his Halloween preparations. Rob has been documenting these. He's a real lepidopterist like myself. He just is absolutely fixated with butterflies in his garden. So yeah, he's been showing me some of the pictures. I've had to look at them. I don't know what it is with my few friends that I have in America that have been sending me pictures recently of different swallowtail caterpillars and the adults. Oh, it's very, very tedious. It's not. It's wonderful to see, but yeah, I wish I could have more swallowtails in my own garden. I just love them as a butterfly. They're incredible. So yes, the milk parsley milkweed. I said milk parsley because milk parsley is what the swallowtails lay their eggs on, Harry, in the UK. We do have a species of swallowtail in the UK, the swallowtail, the Britannicus variety, which lives in Norfolk, and that lays on milk parsley. But in the States, you guys have milkweed, and it is a very good larval food plant. global community chat. It is, you're right, Blue Tomato. Keith Roberts, I would support a scheme to buy wood. Brilliant, yeah. I'm sure many of you probably would. GM, have you heard of the more frog reintroduction project? The males turn blue in spring. Very cool. Who was it mentioned frogs to me the other day? I'm sure somebody mentioned this to me. I haven't heard of it, but I need to look that up. Nuala Shanahan, hello from Ireland. Love your channel. Thank you very much. Nice to see you. And it's always lovely to see new names popping up. Yeah, thank you. So glad you love the channel. Hopefully there's something for everybody here. Chris Nichols, evening Joel. I'm planning a complete re-landscape in my garden, which is only 30 foot by 35 foot. Doesn't matter, Chris. But I'm drawing lots of inspiration from your videos for the wildlife area and small ponds. So thank you, Joel. You're very welcome, Chris, anytime. Obviously, I do offer consultations as well. If any of you are watching this and you want me to come and help you with your own garden, I offer just a consultation service. I don't have to do anything. If you just want the advice, I can come and see you and tell you what I would do with the garden and help you in that way as well. So I also offer a design service as well. So if you need anything like that, drop me a line. GM, what's the most dangerous insect you've encountered? Dangerous insect. Well, it wasn't really dangerous, but one that absolutely just terrified me. I don't know why. When we were in Panama, there were these locusts there, like 6-inch long locusts, and for some reason they were drawn to me. Every time we went, Nicky and I went back to our little cabana, this little wooden, beautiful little wooden, I say wooden shack, it's really not, it's not doing it justice. In the middle of the jungle when we stayed out there 3 years ago now, you put the lights on to go up the steps to go into the front door, and these things were everywhere and they would fly at your face and just yeah, I mean I'm not obviously, as you can imagine, bothered by insects, spiders or anything, but those things, yeah, okay, they weren't dangerous, but man, they just, yeah, I was desperate to get in those doors at that point. I've been terrified to get my hands in my ponds due to the fear of frogs. Okay, yeah, well, people are scared of many different things. Frogs, and you wouldn't be the first person, that's for sure. Bear Hunter 22. I did have a frog say hello, clearing leaves the other day. Brilliant. Yes, I saw one today actually in the wetland where I've been working. Alison, what a treat to come across this live stream. You're very welcome, Alison. Stick around. There's plenty more coming up. Paul Morgan, can you even add a barrel pond? Or you can even add a barrel pond. Yes, very true. Yeah, barrel ponds, a great way of adding water to a garden, even if you've got concrete, if it's rented accommodation, if you've got a balcony. A barrel pond is just brilliant. It's instant life. And damselflies and dragonflies will still visit it. Birds will visit it to bathe and drink. You'll get all sorts of stuff. Butterflies and bees will visit to get a little bit of the water. They'll also visit to nectar on some of the plants that might be planted in the barrel. Yeah, check those out. Again, we've got those on the website if you're after one. Mercy, oh hello, nice to see you again, Mercy. Hi Joel, we planted some spindle and hawthorn whips approximately 2 years old. Do you know how long they take to start flowering? It varies, not usually that long. I would have said within 3 to 4 years probably, but again, like in my previous discussion on this, these things need to be left. If you trim them back, most of them flower on the previous year's growth. So if you keep them trimmed, then I'm not saying you are, but then they won't flower. So make sure you let them grow. Bruce S said, did you manage to see the bearded vulture that visited in the Lincolnshire in 2020? It was visible in Cubbit. I know that's how you say Cubbit because I grew up not far from Cubbit, hanging around with the rooks. No, I didn't. I remember hearing about the bearded vulture. I was working somewhere else in the country at the time, so I missed that, unfortunately. Muddy Walters, I've been getting some snotty/jelly type of stuff floating on my pond the last couple of weeks. Never seen it before. Any idea what it could be, Joel? I have come across this before. Now, what was it? I mean, it could be like a slime mold, but I guess if it's on the water, it's probably not a slime mold. Yeah, interesting one. I'd have to look that one up, I'm afraid, Muddy Walters. Jenny said, Joel, could you do a show garden as a balcony-style garden, all in planters? I think that would inspire so many people. I loved your garden at Global Bird Fair a couple of years ago. Thanks, Jenny. Yeah, so Global Bird Fair, I exhibit at every year in Lincolnshire. Not Lincolnshire, Rutland, sorry. It's the only show that I exhibit at. I make a little display garden, little like wildlife garden. I love it. I get to meet wonderful people like yourselves, and yeah, get a little bit of work out of it as well, which is great. But yes, you could absolutely, Jenny. So yeah, show gardens, a balcony style garden. Yeah, because you can just do it all in planters, like I've already said tonight. Do it in pots. Do barrel pond pots. You can achieve so much. You can do a little mini meadow in a pot, which is another video that I'm going to be doing on the channel for the springtime, showing you how to make a little mini meadow in like a little barrel pond type setup. So yeah, that's one thing I will be doing. Nikki Ramsey said, I found a disused dunnocks nest when I was cutting back my hedge the other day. It was constructed of moss and the dog toy stuffing. My dog loves disemboweling his toys in the garden. Yeah, mine too, unfortunately, Nikki. Yes, it's amazing what you find in birds' nests. Yeah, and unfortunately, more and more so, they are using bits of plastic and things to line their nest, and yeah, because there's so much of it in our landscape nowadays. So it is a bit of a shame. I feel like I've missed some comments. I'm sure there were some. There must have been someone mentioning the barn owl. There were. I've gone past them. Let's have a look. Here we go. Yeah, how did I miss these? Don't know. Sorry, everyone. If you're waiting for me to answer your question. Lucy Calendar said hi. Hello, Lucy. Blue Tomato said hi again, Joel. And chat from Norway. Yeah, nice to see you again. Thank you. Woody Walters, hi Joel from the Lancashire coast, Southport. Hope you're enjoying the pink-footed geese flying over. Yes, I am. Pink-footed geese, if you're not familiar with them, they are a goose, as you can probably guess. And they are coming in their hundreds, if not thousands at the moment, from Iceland, Scandinavia, where they have spent the breeding season. And they come to our coast, mostly on the east of the country, around the Humber, around the Wash in Lincolnshire, near where I grew up, and the North Norfolk coast, which holds 250, no, it's somewhere between 250 and 400,000 individuals that overwinter on the Norfolk coast. And I've been fortunate enough to see them in their thousands. I actually did a video on the channel a few years back, if you go back and have a look. And they are wonderful. I actually saw some just as I left on yesterday morning, in fact, my house. Just before I left, there was what's called a skein, S-K-E-I-N, which is a skein of geese. And they fly over in a big V. This time of year, if you hear a real high-pitched sort of honking noise, I won't try and do an impression of it, just look it up. I guarantee it'll be pink-footed geese, and they're usually flying quite high, coming in from the north at this time of year. And then when they reach the coast, they'll go inland to feed and then fly back out to the coast to roost at night time on the shoreline. Amazing, absolutely amazing things. I love to see them. It's such an iconic call, and I look forward to seeing them every year. But they are coming in at the moment. As I say, they are more on the east of the country. But yes, Muddy Waters, I am enjoying seeing them. Thank you. Yeah, so then we went on to the barn owl, didn't we? Charlotte Seaton said, I love that you care so much for even the insects. I'm the same, they're all important. You're absolutely right. I mean, if insects fell out the bottom of the food chain tomorrow, we'd be stuffed. I mean, they're already hand pollinating fruit trees in China. Things are that bad out there because there aren't the insects to pollinate the fruit trees anymore. So yeah, we need to protect our insects. So I couldn't agree more, Charlotte. Teresa Jaram, hi Joel. Hello Teresa, nice to see you. Sorry if you've already been and gone. I missed these, I don't know how. Blue Tomato, wow, I saw it. GM saw it. Muddy Walters saw it. Keith Roberts, fantastic, saw it. GM, maybe it's hunting you. Maybe, yeah, maybe it's just got a sixth sense for, bad people that's following me. It's hunting me down. Teresa saw it. Wildlife gardener Tracy saw it. Yeah, it's so brilliant. I'm so pleased so many of you saw that barn owl. Fantastic. I know it's only a fleeting glimpse, but what a brilliant thing just outside the back door here. Jenny Hill, it said, beautiful, love barn owls. I mentioned earlier we have one visit, such an honour and a privilege. Yeah, they're great. That's my second favourite bird after house martin. Oh, and I have to tell you, my third favourite bird turned up at the wetlands today. I was just finishing putting up the barn owl box. I was actually stood in the digger bucket, just putting one of the last screws in. And I just heard this sort of like a bitoot, and I thought, oh, it's not. And I mean, this is one of those calls that every time I hear it, it's like the screech of the barn owl. It just sends sort of all the hairs on the back of my neck upwards. And it was I turned around and there's a flipping kingfisher. So a kingfisher had come in. It had flown past the new pond, the new big pond in the wetland that I've made, the line pond. Went past me about 10 yards from me. Saw this brilliant orange and blue flash. Too quick for me to get a picture or a bit of video, but absolutely amazing. So kingfisher right in through the wetlands. So that's now kingfisher and green sandpiper. And today I had my first, actually as well, it's been a day of firsts. My first grey wagtail visiting the pond as well. So I was just over putting the kestrel box up, and I heard a grey wagtail coming in. They do this kind of 2-note call that they do as they're flying, and it dropped in, landed on the edge of the pond, started bobbing about with its waggy tail, hence the name, and that was hunting for insects around the new pond. So kingfisher and grey wagtail today around the new wetland, the new main pond. So absolutely chuffed to bits. And then the barn owls this evening, well, I'm spent. I don't need to see anything else for the next week. So Anne Bashir saw it as well. Wonderful. Sometimes at dusk we see pygmy owls. Wow. I'd love to see a pygmy owl. The little burrowing owls as well. Fantastic. Kumkatusu said, Joel, you gave me the pond bug I'm renting, so I can't make a proper one built in addition to 2 barrels. I now have a sunken container, which is huge as far as containers go, 1 metre diameter, 75 centimetres deep. Brilliant, good for you. Well, we were just talking about container ponds, weren't we? So fantastic. I'm so glad I gave you the bug. Yeah, fantastic. Viviana saw the barn owl. Keith Roberts, yes, much improved. Butterfly numbers for me. I felt like the peak season was a couple of weeks earlier than the start of the count. Yeah, everything was a bit early this year because it was so hot and so dry for so long. It forced everything on. In June, when you think things are going to look all lush and lovely, they were sort of looking like it was the middle of July. Everything was wilting and going over. It was mad. I would hate to see how it's affected the grass feeding larvae. Things like our skipper butterflies, meadow browns, gatekeepers, all the kind of the grass feeding species. If the grass has been shriveling up like it was 3 years ago when we had 43 degrees centigrade, it's going to be a difficult summer for them, or would have been. Nikki said my numbers were definitely down, plus the different species were fewer. Lots of browns, but barely any blue butterflies on my patches. Yeah, a bit of a mixed bag then, Nikki. Rebecca Slater, wow, love barn owls. How long would you expect barn owls to move into your barn owl box, Joel? Well, judging by the fact they're following me around, hopefully by tonight. Yeah, I mean, well, they'll be prospecting now, so barn owls actually, they do nest all year round. They're one of the few birds that nest all year round, and have, broods all year round. So it could be any time, absolutely any time, but it won't take them long to find it. They're very quick, like with most birds, they're quick at finding new boxes. So now is a really good time. If you're looking to put any boxes up, just drop us a line. We can supply you with blue tip robin, barn owl, kestrel, you name it. So yeah, they're now is a good time to put bird boxes up because as well, we've got our own roost box. If for those of you that don't know, that I designed a few years back now, which actually has a hole at the bottom and perches inside it, which works really well for this time of year. So start getting some roost boxes up, guys, to give the birds somewhere to sleep and roost at night. As the nights get longer and colder, they obviously need somewhere sheltered to overwinter then, but to spend the night. So yeah, roost boxes are a good one for that. So hopefully, Rebecca, not long before they move in. GM, would you ever be interested in buying woodland and managing it for nature? Oh yeah, so we got to that bit. So okay, right, I'll go down to the bottom now. See where we got to. Let's have a look. Sorry guys, just going through the messages. I just don't want to miss anybody. I don't want to miss anyone's message. If you've waited to ask me a question, then Let's have a look. Here we go. I think I'm caught up. Right. Bearded vulture, we did that. Disused Dunnock's Nest by Nikki. Yeah, we've done that. GM, could your dogs beat a grey wolf in a fight 5v1? Kind of a question is that? I said no silly questions tonight, GM. One more strike and you're out. Davy Richardson, tip boxes. Metal protected plates, yes or no? Used to use just to decrease size of hole, not predators. Unplated boxes use plated boxes, not looked at. Yeah, I would always say if you don't want your holes on your boxes to be predated by things like great spotted woodpeckers, believe it or not, woodpeckers will take chicks from a nest. I'm sure you've seen it many a time on Spring Watch and programs like that. So a metal plate is usually a good idea because it just means that they can't then peck away at the hole. Although to be fair, if they're going to peck a hole, I mean a woodpecker, let's be honest, can peck through 18mm ply, no problem. If they want to peck in, they'll peck in. They'll just peck down the side or somewhere else. So although a new box is yeah. Let me know. Drop me a comment if you can hear me. Oh yeah, you got me? Looks like I'm back. Fab. I have no idea what happened there. Could have been the internet. Wi-Fi seems okay here where I am, but yes, great. Thank you. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, yes, sorry about that. Modern technology, hey? I had a reminder go off on my phone, but for some reason that obviously sent the sound out. Anyway, okay, cool. GM lips read for others, so that's good. Fantastic. Yes, there we go. Right. Okay, well, let me just check. I've gone through the messages, most of them. You didn't miss much. I was just basically saying, hello, can you hear me? So nobody missed anything, don't worry. Yeah, Two-Tone Navy said, I'm still trying to prep for my wildflower meadow. Tried solarizing to kill off the grass and invasive bindweed, but it always gets too windy. Any suggestions on prescribed burns? Too dangerous. I try just sheeting it off, John, and you know, just or you can use cardboard. A lot of people use cardboard for a year and just cover over the area to try and you know, use the lack of light to kill them off. It's probably a good way. Keith Roberts said chuffs that have been released on the White Cliffs, so fingers crossed they can get established. yeah, I mean, chough is a great bird. I really love choughs. They're got this fantastic orange curved beak. Two-tone navy saw the barn owl. That was good. Yeah. Chris Nichols, have I missed the boat for putting up some insect houses? No, not at all. Same with bird boxes. I mean, just get them up now. You know, it's a great time of year. Then they'll be there for the spring. Then, so not at all, Chris. Manor pools for before safaris. Hey, bud, I'm in process of building a birding blind in my wildlife garden in Harare, Zimbabwe. Wow. The concept is to build a raw time frame within a bush space inside for a little table and 2 chairs. Amazing. Send me some pics. I'd love to see that. That is awesome. Yeah, Nicky Ramsey said there seems to be a huge number of Egyptian geese that have appeared in my area over the last couple of years. Yeah, Egyptian geese, one of those ones that are just naturalised now. There were some on Clapham Common where I was working over the winter months, and yeah, seem to be doing very well. They can cope with our climate, as can the ringneck parakeets, because the other day, for the first time, we had our first ringneck parakeets in Lincolnshire that I'd seen anyway, in the village, even flying over my garden, which was really odd to get parakeets in Lincolnshire, my home county, flying over my garden. I mean, just, I'd have never thought of that 20 years ago, but there they were, as bright as day, bright green, vivid colour with a little black ring. And I was seeing hundreds of them on Clapham Common when I was working there in London. But yeah, really odd to see those. So they're another species that are spreading now. They've even reached the Scottish borders, the ringneck parakeets, apparently. Yeah, do send me a picture, Manor Pools. I would love to see that. Tribal Sun Jewelry said hi, hello, thank you for joining. Keith Roberts, oh, I love the kingfishers, such a joy to see them along the river. Grey wagtails too, other birds of note, little egret and grey herons. Nice, Keith, yeah. Yeah, kingfishers, you never get tired of seeing them. Sabine C said, you inspired me to put in 3 small meadows on our property. I have some seeds left. How long are they good for? I bought them last year. Meadow mix and wildflowers. Greetings from near Seattle. Wow. Hats off to you, Sabine. I would recommend sowing them this autumn if you can, if you haven't already, unless they've been kept in cold storage, in which they might be okay and viable through next year as well. So I would just get them down as soon as you can with that one. Tribal Jewelry sending a quick hello from South Florida, Fort Lauderdale. Love your show, love what you're all about. Keep doing what you're doing across the sea. I'm doing my part to do as best I can to rewild. Well, thank you very much. What a wonderful comment. Yes, well, it's just the beauty of YouTube and this channel is brilliant. So thank you very much for dropping me a message. Bean Hunter 22, where would you suggest positioning the roost boxes? Somewhere sheltered out the wind, 2 or 3 meters high will be fine. Yeah, anywhere like that, really. Keith, I'm looking forward to studying the local peace garden again next year. Yeah, Keith's been monitoring his local butterfly populations where he lives. Becoming familiar with a particular wild space is proving to be a great first-hand experience. It really is. Getting to know your local area and getting to know the insects and everything that are there is just wonderful. And then you get to notice differences and changes and new species coming in and old species kind of fizzling out. It's just really fascinating. It's a good way of monitoring the populations in your area. Just pick a spot and keep going back. Blue Tomato, what would you attract white wagtail / pied wagtail with, Joel? They were my granddad's birds growing up. He hand fed them. Now they don't visit but are around the cottage area. Well, they do take well to mealworms. They're insectivorous, so short grass. They often perch on roofs, you'll probably know. And you can get a pied wagtail box as well, where there's like a little chamber behind a kind of an entranceway, if you like. So you can put boxes up for them, and generally just have areas of short grass. They love bobbing around on short grass, hunting for daddy longlegs and insects like that. So that's one way of doing it. Jules C, hey, hi Joel and chat. Yeah, nice to see you, Jules. Okay, then we've lost the sound, so we're nearly caught back up. Okay, Jules said BooTube gremlins. Yeah, Jimmy and Tony, hey, nice to see you. How are you doing? Hi, Joel. My frog-bitten hornlet didn't survive the cold winter we had last year. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't. You know, and if we get a particularly cold one, it can see off some of the lilies as well. What would you recommend we do this year? Well, I mean, you could try again, plant them a little bit deeper. Sometimes if it's near the surface, if they're rooted near the surface, that can affect them as well. So moving them a bit deeper just might be, you know, half a degree or a degree warmer underwater. If you get a full frost where the whole thing freezes over, it's not going to make a difference. But hopefully with just moving them down into the pond a little bit further, that might help. Jules said, bought a new bug house for my 6-year-old grandson. He loves it. Yeah, bug houses, bug hotels are a great way of getting kids involved. Lynn Thomas. Oh, Lynn, you made it. I'm glad. If you've missed any of this, by the way, I will be putting the lives on the YouTube channel as well, so you can go back and watch them. So don't worry if you've missed any of tonight's action, which you've missed an incredible show tonight, Lynn. We've had live barn owls just to my right. It's been amazing. But anyway, yeah, go back and have a look afterwards when I upload this. Keith Roberts said lots of parakeets in Kent. Yes, they are expanding their range for sure. And Blue Tomato said, thanks, Joel. Didn't know about specialised boxes. Lots of daddy long legs there. Yes, okay. Yeah, well, that will help hopefully. So the daddy long legs will be a good food source for them. And the boxes will help give them somewhere to nest, fingers crossed. GM, who named Daddy Longlegs? I've no idea. That's a good question. That I will give you as a good question. The rest of them have been questionable, but that's a good question. Jimmy and Tony said, thank you, Joel, very much appreciated. No worries. That's what I'm here for. Well, I'm going to wrap it up, I think, everybody. I'm going to go get some food, if I'm honest. I just managed to get back from the wetland and get a quick shower, and then jumped on here, and so now I'm going to get some dinner and go answer a few emails and do the less exciting part of running a business. But yes, Lynn, hope you can catch up soon. And Blue Tomato said, would you consider making a Discord for this community? It could be a good place to share photos, chat, and Zoom. Now I'm going to show my age a little bit here. I've heard of Discord. I've never been on it. So a bit like Snapchat, I can honestly put my hand up and say I've never used Snapchat before in my life. I don't even know what it is. Same with Discord. In a way, I know it's a bit of a chat space, but yeah, send me a message about that. If you think there's a way we can improve the channel, as always, I'm open to ideas. Yes, and thank you everybody for joining me. It's been a pleasure, as always. We've had live barn owls. Even when I've been sat inside a house, we've had wildlife. It's amazing. So yes, Nikki said, do you have any more interviews with naturalists in the pipeline? I've enjoyed the ones you've done. Yes, I do, Nikki. I'm going to see a rather interesting chap in Norfolk in a few weeks, who is a very big advocate for anti-pesticides, anti-chemicals, and he's amazing, a really, really top chap. So I'll be letting you know who that is very soon. I've also got a few other interviews lined up as well, which I will let you know about. So yes, looking to do a few more interviews over the winter months, so I can add those to the playlist. If you want to see any of the older videos, guys, then go to the home screen, go on playlists. You'll see all the ones I've made on there: wildlife ponds, wildflower meadows, interviews, my Panama trip. Everything that I've done on this channel in the last 5 years is in one of those playlists. So go and have a look. It'll keep you busy for weeks, as well as these lives, which obviously I'd like to do as a new feature moving forward. So I'll keep you posted about this, and stay tuned for the next video, which will be Sunday. This live kind of marks the end of the live sessions for this week. This was a bit of an impromptu thing that was brought on Sunday evening, following an email from YouTube, where, if you haven't heard, they've invited me to join their boot camp to learn all about vertical lives, which I clearly need to learn a few things about. So yes, hopefully once I've been through that, and in the meantime we can arrange a few more of these live sessions. Let me know in the comments if there is a better time or day for yourselves that you think would work. I think Wednesdays are generally pretty good. You know, everybody's kind of scrolling, you know, for something to do. It's not the weekend, and I release a video obviously every Sunday. So let me know your thoughts, and thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure, as always, to speak to you all, and hope you've gleaned a few things from Yes, this live and the other couple of lives. As I say, if you've missed any of the lives, don't worry. You can go back and check them out on the channel. Just have one last quick messages. People saying, Mercy, Discord is great for communities. Yeah, cool. I have heard that, so I'll look into it for you all. Promise. Yeah, no, I think that's it. Can I do an interview with Emmanuel Macron? I don't know about that one. That might prove a bit challenging. The state of France is extremely interesting at the moment. Yes. Yes, indeed, as it is in many places around the world. So, yeah, thank you all so much. I really appreciate the support. As always, stay wild, stay tuned, and I'll see you all very soon.